beautiful fragrance family? Dustin here, fragrance fan. Go ahead and give me a solid and click that like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. I'm just going to keep on giving you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews, $40-ish and $100 range. Most of these are way less than that, and a good number of these you can pick up at your local rack stores. And the one I'm talking about today, I actually haven't found anything online, not one little thing. It's an ultra cheap fragrance. I'm talking about a 2014 release I found for $9 at Ross, and this is Michael Jordan's Power. Couldn't find anything on this. Atomizer lid is plastic and light. The bottle is weird shaped. It's got like laces and basketball grip texture in the thing itself. But it feels awesome in the hand, like some brass knuckles or something. Like, I don't know, it feels really good in the hand. The atomizer itself, it spurts, but it's okay. So, since there's absolutely no reviews on this thing, I'm going to do my best to paint as much of an accurate picture with this thing as I possibly can. So, when this thing first opens up, it's going to give you a decent dose of some pepper, the lime, and there's a little bit of that cashmere going on. 5 minutes later, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe 10 minutes, the lavender and the amber and the patchouli really start to come out, and the freshness from that lime dissipates. The pepper is still there a little bit, but it's kind of in the background a little bit more. So this thing opens up quite similar to Paco Rabanne's 1 Million, but instead of like the fresh mint note, this has a fresh lime note. 5 or 10 minutes later into this thing, it's Le Male all the way. It's like, and through the longevity of this thing, it's kind of like a fresher version of Le Male or Cuba Gold or CR7. So with that being said, if you own any one of those fragrances, you don't need this one. This is, since it's a little bit fresher, it's a little more appropriate for the higher heat, but I don't think that this is a high heat fragrance. I tried it, it was okay, but it wasn't great. I have way better options for the high heat. The one thing I'm disappointed about with this thing is the fact that Cuba Gold came out in like the 70s. Jean Paul came out in like the mid 90s. CR7 came out much more recent, and I forget exactly when, but it's fairly recent, around the same time as this, I think. But they made like a spicy version of Le Male, gave it a little bit of complexity and stuff, whereas this kind of made it more simple and fresher, and it's just another fragrance in that vicinity. One of those ones that can be very, very redundant. You don't need this if you have any of those other ones. So I don't know why many years down the road they tried to copy a DNA of a fragrance that already has a very, very, very cheap option like Cuba Gold and do their own thing. I don't know. Maybe it's for the diehard Jordan fans. I'm not sure. Now, it sounds like I'm dogging it and everything, and I kind of am, but it smells good. It is a good smelling fragrance. It's very synthetic, of course. It is extremely synthetic, but it's just a synthetic version of a slightly fresher synthetic version of Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. That's what you get out of this. Performance is right on the slightly weaker side of average. I'm talking about like 4.5, maybe 5 hours, but it's not going to be that 5 to 6. It's going to be more to the 4 to 5, if that makes any sense. So this is maybe slightly more mature than it is youthful, because this scent profile is kind of old school. It's got all that kind of powderiness and creaminess with a little bit of spiciness that Jean Paul has, with a little bit of sweetness from the amber and the patchouli. It's got all of that going for it. Just a touch of freshness, just a touch of it. So if you know what those smell like, then you know what this smells like. And yeah, it's not something you need to run out and buy, but if you want a cheap version of that and you don't have Cuba Gold, then you can go ahead and get this one. If you really like that scent profile and you don't want to spend the whole boatload of money on Jean Paul when you got a cheaper option, then this one will do just fine. And it'll probably pull in just as many compliments because it's quite similar. But like I said, more simple and fresher. So, occasions to wear this, I would say anything that is below like 83 degrees. This thing will work in everything else. It's casual, it can be dressed up. That's why Jean Paul was so popular, because it's a very versatile fragrance, but more for the cooler weather. So that's what you get when you smell Michael Jordan's power. With that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always. And until next time.